All right, shalom, shalom. First off, give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushai, by Hashem, Rakakadash, giving double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS. Salutes and honors to the elect, all the brothers across the four corners who are enduring in truth and sincerity, all the men and women who follow. This is the brother Kratazah from the GMS Nebraska camp, coming back at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushai. This lesson being entitled Ephraim is joining the idols. All right, and you got this guy right here. He's a wrestler. His name is Mike Santana, and you can tell he's a Jake. You know what I'm saying? He's a Ephraimite, right? So-called Puerto Rican. You know, got the swag with the glasses. You know, the jewelry. Um, and you can see, he got the Caesar pieces, right? And Ephraim is joining the idols, man. I was watching this and I'm like, damn, that's just the first scripture that hit my head. So let's get that real quick. It says Hosea 4:17. Ephraim is joining the idols, let him alone. Right? It says their drink is sour, they have committed whoredom continually. Her rules with shame do love give ye. Right? And that sour drink is speaking about these different philosophies, mainly the Roman Catholic philosophy. You know, Roman Catholicism is not the only one who pushed, this image of Caesar Borgia, but it definitely started with them. It says, but they committed whoredom, and that whoredom is going after other gods because they're not going after Yahweh Shem Shai. He's not praying to the dark skinned Lord whom the Bible speaks of. He's preaching to the white guy, right? Or praying to the white guy, should I say? And that's just Ephraim in general. You know, Ephraim is given unto idols. You got the Puerto Rican flag with the praying hands and the prayer beads, the Catholic prayer beads. You know, you got so-called Caesar Borgia with a Puerto Rican flag. Ephraim is given unto idols. You got Jesus Cristo. I should have um, translated that, but let me see. Bear with me. Yeah, it says Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ cries and cries out for the salvation of Puerto Rico. Join his cry, right? It's in the picture of him crying with the flag of Puerto Rico. That's Ephraim for you though, man. They've been captivated, man. So when you go to the percentage, it says approximately 85% of the Puerto Ricans identify as Roman Catholic, according to the CIA World Fact Book. The remaining 15% are predominantly Protestant, with smaller percentages identifying as Muslim or Jewish, according to the CIA World Fact Book. Right, a very small portion identifying as Jewish, or they would be, well, a Hebrew Israelite. You know, but that's why you see very few Ephraimites, in the camps. Ephraim. Let's matter of fact, let's get that real quick. All right, so Hosea chapter 7, Ephraim's iniquity. So let's jump to verse 5. It says, in the day our king and princes have made him sick with bottles of wine. Again, going back into that Roman Catholicism, going back into This is the bottles of wine. The doctrines. Loving. White Jesus. This is the wine that is making Ephraim sick. It says, he stretched out his hand with scorners. You see a lot of Ephraimites scorning the truth. Um, you know, Adios mio. When they see you put horns on Caesar, because they love him. You know, they can't get enough. So that's why you don't see a lot of you know Ephraimites amongst the caps. All right, so let's get another precept here. This is Hosea 8:4. It says, "But they have set up kings, but not by me. They have made princes, and knew not if the it's like it and knew it not of their silver and of their gold have they made them idols that they may be cut off." Right, because this is one of those idols by silver and by gold. You know, but not only this, man, you can take this going all the way back, man. So let's go all the way back. Let's go all the way back to Exodus and the 31st chapter, starting at verse 1. It says, "And when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron and said unto them, Up, make us gods which shall go before us. For as this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we want not what is become of him." Like, man, we don't know what happened to him. So Aaron, you need to get up. You need to make us a God to serve. And Aaron said unto them, break off the golden earrings which are in the ears of your wives and your sons and of your daughters, and bring them unto me. And all the people brake off the golden earrings which were in their ears, and brought them unto Aaron, and he received them at their hand, and fashioned it with a graving tool, after he had made it into a molten calf. And they said, These be the gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land. So, this is Israel's first time as a nation going off to serve another god. We more than likely were serving whatever gods the Egyptians had, which we know were numerous. But us coming together as a nation to be a nation, to do our own thing, this is where it started. All right. Aaron took all the golden earrings, and they probably put it into the fire and made one big lump of gold, and then he shaved it down, because when you go into that graving tool or fashion into a graving tool, it talks about like shaving it down. So he shaved it into the form of a calf, and then they started praising. You know, so when you take that and then you go into First Kings 11:26, it says, "And Jeroboam son of Nebat, an Ephraimite of Zerida, Solomon's servant, whose mother's name was Zurah, a widow woman, even lifted up his hand against the king." And this was the cause that he lifted up his hand against the king Solomon, but built Slakia. And this was the cause that he lifted up his hand against the king. Solomon built Milo and repaired the breaches of the city of David his father. And the man Jeroboam was a mighty man of valor, and Solomon, seeing the young man that he was industrious, he made him ruler over all the charge of the house of Joseph, which is Ephraim. Ephraim is the house of Joseph. Slakia, you can go into Revelations where it talks about 12,000 from this tribe, 12,000 from that tribe. When it goes to Ephraim, its name is Joseph. All right, it says, "And it came to pass at that time when Jeroboam went out of Jerusalem, and the prophets, Ahijah the Shilonite, found him in the way. And when he had clad himself a new garment, and they were two alone in the field, and Ahijah caught the new garment that was on him and rent it in 12 pieces. And he said to Jeroboam, Take thee 10 pieces, for thus saith the Lord power of Israel. Behold, I will rend the kingdom out of the hand of Solomon, and will give 10 tribes to thee. But he shall have one tribe for my servant David's sake, for Jerusalem's sake, the city which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel, because they have forsaken me and have worshipped Ashtoreth, the goddess of the Zidonites, Zidonians, like the Zidonians, Chemosh, the god of the Moabites, and Milcom, uh, Milcom, the god of the children of Ammon, and have not walked in my ways to do which is right in my eyes, and to keep my statutes and judgments, as did David his father. So because Solomon was going off and worshiping all these other gods, you know, Jeroboam was made head over Israel. But this is like the beginning of the end for Israel, because this is where they went into worshiping other gods. Matter of fact, um, um, damn, how does it go? There, here we go. This is Jeremiah 3:8. It says, and I saw when all the causes whereby backsliding Israel committed adultery, right? Backsliding Israel committed adultery starting under the rule of Jeroboam and going on down, which, like I said, starts at Ephraim. Ephraim was the head. Whatever Ephraim would have did, all the other tribes would have went behind him. But because Ephraim is given unto idols, Ephraim decided to go off. All right, he says, and I saw when for all the causes whereby backsliding Israel committed adultery, I had put her away and given her a bill of divorce. Right, so Israel got a bill of divorce. The Lord stopped dealing with them because they were so much given in the idols. He says, yet her treacherous sister Judah feared not, but went and played the harlot also. And eventually that's why the southern kingdom, the Negroes, the Negroes, the Benjamites, and the Levites, that's why they also were cut off, for the same purpose. But the point is, Israel committed adultery and got put away by the Lord, and Ephraim was the head of that. Ephraim was in charge, so to speak. Is that it? Yeah, I think that, matter of fact, I think that's it. I just wanted to do this quick lesson, man, because you see, yeah, Ephraim don't go nowhere without his idols. They got those what's it called, just Justo, let me see, Justo Jewels candles, you know, just which is let me see, Justice Judge, Just Judge, I believe. Yeah, Just Judge, right? So that's how Ephraim do it, man. I remember that old video with Apostle Tahar when they were breaking down the tribes, and they had on headlights. They had them on the headlights. you know, Now I've personally never seen this, here in Omaha, but I know, in the bigger cities where Ephraim is, New York, um, down in Florida, up and down the East Coast. Ephraim is everywhere, but it's just not a heavy population here in Omaha. But this is what Ephraim would do. You know what I'm saying? He'll put Caesar on the headlights. But that's really all I wanted to give with this. And Lord's word is edifying. And we give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakar giving double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS. Salutes and honors to the elect, all the brothers across the four corners who are enduring in truth and sincerity, all the men and women who follow. Shalom.